everybody, I'm Jammer and welcome back to another Animal Crossing New Horizons video. It's been a little bit since the Wave 2 summer update came to the game, bringing along the fireworks festival, all the fun toys with that, as well as some other minor features too. We've probably got a good ways until the fall update will be upon us, but I thought it would still be kind of fun to predict and kind of talk about some of the things we could maybe expect in a fall update later this year. So that's what we're going to do today, talk about some of the obvious stuff that would make sense in a fall update, as well as some of the information that has been provided through data mines that could kind of point us in the right direction of what we could expect to come with this new update. So before we get into all that, if you are new here, perhaps consider subscribing. It's free, you can always change your mind later, and of course can expect tons more on Animal Crossing New Horizons. So thanks for listening to that. Without further ado, let's get started. I think the first thing to talk about is probably the most obvious thing that's going to make sense coming with a fall update, considering it's part of the promotional art that announced the fall update, is of course the Halloween holiday. We've seen the face of the character Jack a few times now before. Once before in the original Animal Crossing Direct before the game came out, announcing updates in the first place, in addition to, of course, seeing it here for the announcement of the fall update. So there's really no surprise we'll be seeing a Halloween holiday come to the game. But how is it going to be handled in New Horizons? Our best bet is to first look how it was handled in previous titles so then we can make a better guess in how it'll be handled here. In Animal Crossing GameCube, villagers with pumpkin masks would run around the town and chase the player if they were nearby. If you were caught, the villagers would ask for candy. If you gave them the candy, the villager would be satisfied and would let the player go free to go. If you refused to give the villager candy, or you had no candy in your inventory, a random item in your pockets would be transformed into absolute junk. So it was actually really scary trying to avoid all your villagers if you were out of candy, trying to make it back to your home to preserve your precious items. I didn't realize this, but Halloween actually wasn't in Wild World. So jumping over to City Folk, it operated pretty similar to GameCube. Villagers outside your town would do the same thing and ask for candy. If the player didn't have any on them, you could offer up different items that would instead be turned into Jack-in-the-Boxes. Refusing to give candy results in the player's clothes, accessories, or any items the player has in their pockets to be changed. In New Leaf, it kind of built upon that system that was introduced in City Folk. Villagers again would be outside in your town, hungry for candy, because the goal of Halloween was to track down Jack randomly spawned in your town to be able to get the spooky furniture set. And then similarly to City Folk, the villagers who stayed inside their homes would need to be scared based on wearing a specific Halloween costume depending on what they're afraid of. So you could get like a ghost hood or a werewolf mask or a Frankenstein hat. So if you correctly scared the villager, they would give you lollipops instead of candy. And the lollipops then could be traded to Jack to get the spooky furniture set. So how is that going to be handled here in New Horizons? I think it's well to expect it's going to be probably similar to what we've seen in previous games, but with an added twist to suit the differences that are here in this game. Admittedly, I could see it taking a very similar style to what we already saw in Egg Day, where it's a week-long event in order to prep for Jack's arrival on Halloween. In previous games, of course, you were to prep for Halloween by, stocking up on candy, buying a bunch of the Halloween costumes to scare your villagers. So I could totally see something similar in the week prior to Halloween, to where you'll need to collect candy, costumes, and whatever you might need for the day of Halloween. I could see that the original plan would have been to make it almost one-to-one like Egg Day, where there'd be rock candy, water candy, sky candy, and then you collect all these different candy types that you'll be able to use for your spooky DIYs you'd get from Jack. But I almost do wonder if, based on the criticism they did get for Egg Day, that they might want to augment or change how Halloween's going to be handled by comparison. All in all, though, I think it's going to be very similar to what we've seen before. Villagers outside in your town will be running around in costumes and whatnot. And the villagers who stay in your home, you can actually trick or treat at their home, whether you're scaring them with costumes or playing little mini games with them. I'm sure that'll be the way that you can redeem specific kinds of candy, whether it be lollipops or something different, that can be redeemed through Jack for spooky DIYs. So enough about Halloween for now. Let's talk about some other things that could potentially come with this fall update. I'm of the opinion that this fall update is going to be a little bit bigger than what we've seen over the summer, perhaps closer to the scale of what we got in the spring update, but maybe not totally as large, but I could see it taking a similar format. With every single update though, we have been receiving a new traveling character. And I've seen a lot of people talking about it, and it would make a lot of sense for Katrina to return. She ran the fortune-telling shop in previous games, and to be honest, it didn't have too much of effect on gameplay, in exception to the luck system that was in every single previous title. So far, that's not been apparent here in New Horizons, but with the inclusion of the King Tut's mask, that was essentially forced bad luck in previous games, making you trip and whatnot, and it's cool to see it now return here in New Horizons, but it doesn't necessarily mean that luck is going to be returning as well. Having good luck in previous games would mean you get more bells from the money rock, villagers pay more for when they're like trading you items, you could increase your friendship with your villagers quicker, seashells would spawn more frequently, and other stuff like that. While of course bad luck would be the opposite of all that. Katrina would tell your fortune for the day and explain how to improve your luck if it were bad by letting you know what the lucky item for the day was. This also had a lot to do with the game mechanic of feng shui. Currently, that mechanic is not actually in New Horizons outside of bonus points in the HHA. How it's seen in Animal Crossing games, it's based on where you place certain colored items in your house, east being red, south being green, and west being yellow. Having the correct colors in your house would affect luck for the day, so then you would actually have a good luck day where you would get more money and all the other things I previously mentioned. It's always been kind of a silly background feature that really doesn't make too much of a big impact on the entirety of the game, especially because it's just been a random chance. If Katrina, as well as Luck, does return in some form in New Horizons, I'd love to see her role expanded a little bit further, to be honest. Because you really could play the entire game completely ignoring the feng shui and the good and bad luck mechanics. It really wouldn't change the experience of playing the game. This is just a silly idea, but what if through Katrina, she could tell you what specific gifts to give like a villager, kind of like she's telling the future, and if you follow through and give the villager that gift, they would be extremely excited. Not only would boost their friendship exponentially, but also would help you get closer to unlocking their photo. I think there's a lot of fun ways they can incorporate like telling the future and stuff beyond just the luck system we've seen in previous games, but if she does inevitably return to New Horizons, I could see it having a very similar thing to what we've already seen before. In addition to Halloween and potentially a new traveling character being Katrina, I'd love to see some more holidays come with the update as well. That was one of my favorite things about the spring update, where it really felt like every single week there was something new to do. There was the May Day tour, the week-long museum day, the wedding season, and of course I get it, after a few days it kind of got boring, you only did it once or a couple of times here and there, but it did kind of feel like there was something to do on the islands, some event being hosted, and it was a lot of fun that way. Here's a list of a couple other holiday ideas I could see coming with the fall update. In previous games, they used to celebrate Labor Day, and maybe that'd be a day where like Tom Nook, Timmy and Tommy, Isabel, even the Able sisters all get a day off, and maybe they like walk around the island stuff. That would be just so cute. And it'd be such a silly little holiday to give all of our favorite workers a day off. Explorers Day was a previous holiday in other Animal Crossing titles. It was always kind of boring because you really only got like a little ship model and that's about it. So they could do something a little bit more with that, but that's an idea too. A really fun holiday that was in Animal Crossing GameCube that wasn't in any following title was the Fall Sports Fair. It's always so much fun to get back into the spirit of like watching sports games and stuff and going to tailgates, and I think it'd be really cool to actually be able to celebrate that in Animal Crossing New Horizons. What if they held like a week-long Fall Sports Fair where there's a bunch of different minigames and stuff you could play, and perhaps they even bring back the kickable balls that were in Animal Crossing GameCube. I don't want to get my hopes up totally for something like that happening, but it would be a really fun and very unique holiday that'd be different from other stuff we've seen before. Another thing introduced in the fall is of course mushrooms being grown. So what if there was like a mushroom picking holiday where it's like considered mushrooming season and a bunch of villagers talk about collecting a bunch of mushrooms to craft mushroom furniture and stuff? It could be a fun little simple holiday like that. Another idea is bringing back the flea market holiday where you can sell stuff in your home to villagers or they sell things in their home to you. We've seen that before in previous Animal Crossing titles, but that was kind of put to the side in New Leaf anyways, because the retail shop kind of already functioned as a flea market where you could put stuff up to be sold and purchased by your villagers and whatnot, so there really wasn't a need for that holiday anymore. But that would be a really fun holiday to bring back, like an end of summer, fall clean out, like where you're cleaning out your garage to sell off your unwanted stuff. And besides, it'd be a great way to steal some of the amazing items that are in some of your villagers' homes. And then finally, getting towards the end of the fall season would of course be the Harvest Festival or Thanksgiving. I'm not sure if that's going to be included in this same fall update. They might even actually space it out like they did the summer wave 1 and 2. So like there's a Halloween update and then later there's a Harvest Festival update, so they're kind of two separate updates to come at different times. And there might be some data mined information that could hint towards this possible update, but I think we'll talk about that in a future video. But that's about all the ideas I have for the upcoming fall update for New Horizons. What kind of things are you hoping that's going to come with this new update? Please let me know that in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big awesome like, and if you haven't already, definitely subscribe for tons more on Animal Crossing New Horizons. As a reminder, we do stream this game every weekend at 10 a.m. Eastern right here on YouTube Live. That's both Saturdays and Sundays. Be sure to follow me over on Twitter as well as my Instagram page to keep up to date on everything that we do with the channel, as well as join our community Discord. It's a great place to find friends to play Animal Crossing with, trade turnips, items, villagers, and all that fun stuff. I highly encourage you to check it out. So I think that's about everything for me for now. Thanks guys again so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya!